What's going on, boys? It's Patty, and in today's video, we're talking about the concept of you will wake up one day and be jacked. You can also put shredded here. Um, this is basically like how it felt for my fitness journey, and I want to briefly describe the process and the psychology behind why it felt this way. Um, so, when I first started my journey, it was in around July, August of 2024. And if you go to my YouTube banner, the left picture is the very first picture I took in my fitness journey, where I decided today is the day I'm going to start working out. And I actually did it. And so that picture was like my before picture, but the day that I started, because I took that picture knowing that the transformation was coming. So fast forward a bit, I continued my business as usual, my 4-day split, for about 6 months to a year, and I really got the weight off, but I didn't have a lot of muscle to show for it. And so, I just kept going. And through the process of holiday bulk, plus me getting cut in December, January, and then I had like a, excuse me, I just got done eating a little bit ago. I had like a November, December, January, like classic family gatherings and stuff like that caused me to bulk a little bit because, I had Thanksgiving meals and Christmas meal and New Year's and so on and so forth. So I just took the bulk anyways. Like I was just like, all right, well, all these holidays are coming up. It doesn't make sense for me to try to like cut or maintain here. Let me just kind of, do as I please. And this is the winter of 2024, going into 2025. So I got a little fluffy again, but not near as bad as when I first started. I looked leaned out with a little fluff on me. So I had some muscle, but I had a little bit of fluff on me. Fast forward a year from then, and in this time frame that I'm referring to, it was somewhere around, I want to say like May, April, a little bit before, I started to really see some progress. But it wasn't until I got cut twice, where I shredded down twice after the holiday bulk. Coming into 2026, I did kind of the same thing over the winter of 2025 and 2026. I allowed myself a little bit of freedom and just ate at maintenance, but I worked out super hard and I was running. So the ability to put on the fat that I put on the previous years was just not there. I was like not putting on fat at that rate. It was just like the cardio was totally holding it at bay. And I was doing things like eating a whole little Caesar's pizza plus other things. Like, so I was probably pushing like 3K calories, right about maintenance with everything that I was doing. Maybe actually, I was probably like doing like a lean bulk would be what that would, be class, like in terms of the calories, not the composition of the food. Cause I was eating like shit, let's face it. But I didn't get crazy overweight. But I remember there was a period, and I just can't pinpoint it, to be honest. There was a month where I looked in the mirror and I almost like gasped. Like I just had my mouth covered and I was like, oh my God. Like what? I remember just looking in the mirror and seeing my six pack. I mean, even like a month ago, I felt that way. Like a couple weeks ago, actually. Time is flying, and that's the thing about business as usual. When you're on a cut and when you're on a fitness journey, and you literally just run the program and you don't really think about it, it feels like today you're fat and tomorrow you're jacked, and there's like you don't even remember the time in between because you're doing the same workouts and it all blends together, and it's all like just a process that you do. And just, you like run it. And like I said, that I remember just looking in the mirror and just having this like almost like a sense of like I am like a champ, like how champions cry when they like fall to their knees. I mean, it was that just a level of joy that I felt. And so like I didn't see the day by day progress, but I guess really what I'm trying to say is when I look down the mountain at the picture of when I started to now, it is like to see how far I've come is absolutely insane. And that's why, like, I say today, or, you will wake up one day and be jacked or shredded, because it will seemingly, your transformation will be over a year or 2 or 3 or 4, however long it takes, but it will happen. And it's going to feel as though it was almost instantaneous. And this is why it's super important that you start today if you are overweight or if you are wanting to set fitness goals. Do not put them off. Oh, when I get a gym membership, when I get more money, when I start eating healthier, no, you need to do it today and then get everything right in the process. Because, I told one of my coworkers this, and I feel bad for saying this, and I should not have said this. This is terrible. Don't ever say this to anybody. But I did tell him, I said, if you were to do what I did, if you were to do even like, I can't remember exactly how I worded it. It was kind of mean. I didn't mean for it to be mean, but it was like, if you walked for a day or if you exercised just a little bit for as the length of time that I've had my transformation, you would have also transformed. I basically said, if you would have started the day that I started, because we're both fat pieces of shit. I didn't say that. Like, we're both really fat. I was 240 pounds. I'm 160 now. I'm almost down. You know what I mean? So like, I told him, if we would have started at the same time, you would have a 6-pack too. You would be jacked. You would have the shoulders popping. You would have, squared out chest and, whatever. Like, you would have cuts in your arms, and like, you would look sick. Like dope, like cool. Like, you know what I mean? You would look good. Like, you would like the way you look, I guess. I said a bunch of slang. I'm sorry. You would like the way that you look. And I shouldn't have said that, because that's like really mean. And I wasn't really thinking of his feelings when I said that. But the thing is I try to always be truthful, and I always try to tell people the truth, because I feel like the worst thing that you can do to somebody is lie to them and be like, yeah, you're good, bro, when they're not good. Oh, you're fine, when they're not going to be fine. And so, and then it's like, oh yeah, chicks don't really dig, guys that are in shape anyways. They don't, they want the dad bod. They want 25, 30% body fat on a guy. They want like a Seth Rogen type. That's peak male attractiveness. Like, dude, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, lying to people doesn't do any good, but harsh truths should be reserved to close friends, not your coworkers. That's my problem, is I care about everybody, and I want everybody to make the same progress and transform like me, but I can't, I gotta be mindful of people's feelings. So just with that, but I will say this though, I'm on a deep cut to get under 10% body fat. If you are 20% body fat, if you start today, by the time I reach my under 10% body fat goal, you will be approaching 13, 12, maybe even 10% if you're really ultra dialed in. Because it takes just as long and just as hard of work, if not, it's harder for me, to be honest. But if you were to start today, you would be able to have a transformation alongside me. And so I just wanted to, kind of encourage you guys that if you haven't started your fitness transformation, that you do so, and that, stick to it. And I promise one day you will wake up and be jacked. That's all for now. And until next time, boys, peace.